smell wet.
I just farted.
So I think it's the 38th episode of the Psychic Wave podcast. There's a delay in that, so I'm not using these headphones. But yeah, the 38th episode of the Psychic Wave podcast, and I'm with the Helen Hannas, Jacob, and Pascal. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like focusing too much on the sound of the A.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean to make a thing out of it.
Yeah, you did fart, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I told you that.
The wood will soak it up. It's okay.
That's how you know good quality wood.
Yeah, good quality wood.
You have to fart on it before.
Good quality.
So I had seen you guys play a few times, actually. Once at the Continental Room, and then once at some death club party thing in a backyard.
Oh,
in
it was so cold.
Yeah, that
La
was
Habra-
freezing. Yeah,
It was
La Habra
really
Heights.
cold.
Like on the
Yeah.
side of the hill.
Yeah.
It's a cool house.
But so I'd seen you guys play before, and then I think we both did one of the Death Club residencies at the Continental Room. Maybe that's where I saw you get. You get one of the Tuesday residencies in like November.
Oh yeah,
or
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Those were fun.
yeah, it was fun, and you guys were really good. And I've seen you guys. You're always playing shows, which is nice.
We've been
We
playing
try,
a lot
yeah.
recently. Yeah.
Try to stay busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough.
So I guess we'll start it off because I like to start from the beginning. But where did you guys grow up, and like, how'd you start getting into music?
I mean, I learned to play the bass when I was 10 years old. Like, I grew up in Southern California in Orange County, like Anaheim and Orange,
Yeah.
in like Santa Ana area. And I went on this trip to Arizona, and we met these like people, and he had a fretless bass guitar and like taught me all this shit, and like I was just like so stoked on it that
Fretless are cool.
home. Yeah. It was like it was an acoustic bass that had frets, and he ripped them all off himself, and like actually
Oh.
did a really good job at it. But like that was the first time I ever played an instrument really, except for like playing like saxophone in 5th grade.
Okay.
But like growing up, I was always super into music. Like my dad always listened to like a lot of cool shit and like really eclectic music taste.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I started playing just with my family and stuff, and they always would get together at family events and stuff and play.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always exciting. Music was always exciting. So
Yeah.
it kind of seemed inevitable at some point.
Where did you grow up?
In Anaheim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And me and Pascal went to high school together at Canyon, and we had a couple other friends who played guitar and bass. So we started playing together for quite a while. And then after a while, one of them went to college, and one of them went to do his own thing. So we're just kind of playing now. And we've been playing for about like 5 or 6 years.
5 years.
5 years.
As the Helen Hannas?
As the
yeah.
Helen Hannas, yeah. But as a two-piece, we've been playing for about
Like
2 years.
I don't even know. I think it's probably like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys. I mean, it's a good sound for a two-piece. I mean, I like the bass style, and even like there's some distortion that you guys throw on some of the bass parts that like to me when you write songs with like just two people, I feel like you have to be more creative, and so
Yeah.
I usually gravitate towards bands that have done that, and it's super exciting because you have to figure out a way to like catch people without the normal dynamic of like
Fill the space.
Yeah,
I think that,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
The songs that we write they're good tonally, you know, like it's a good song. So like it doesn't sound like it's missing anything when we play it just the two of us.
right, exactly.
You know, and like yeah, we have like, you know, a little bit of effect on the bass, a little bit of effect on the vocals, but other than that, it's like, you know, you really get a lot of, because like I play drums, like I try to play all the pieces of the kit, you know,
Right.
not just like sticking on the snare or something like that. And he's always been a talented guitar player, and you know, switching to bass, it's the same amount of like fret work, I guess, but so it's like it's entertaining.
You're saying it too, like the attention, I guess, to detail, like it's just magnetized, I guess, magnified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by having less people.
And there's
Right.
less to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my equipment's pretty big. Like I have this huge bass setup, and I love it. I love like the amp head and everything. And then I have like a 412 for my guitar, and I love it, but it's like it takes up a lot of space.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
heavy.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I still fucking love it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I also like big
Yeah.
equipment anyway. It just makes me feel
Well,
badass.
yeah, you always want the biggest stuff.
Yeah.
You just don't want to move it. You know?
Yeah,
The amp we
exactly.
take to all our shows too is just the easiest one to move. Like
Yeah.
the bass amp that we use now at our practice spaces is a 4x10. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And we have a 200 watt
Yeah,
acoustic
it's
head, and
Yeah.
it's heavy, like that.
Yeah, the
that
heads
cabinet
are,
is heavy as shit. That head is heavy as shit. Like, you know, for its size, you know, but I just don't want to move it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
sits there and we play it, and it's awesome. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I did, a show in LA at Lot 1, and it was just me and a guitar because my friend needed somebody to fill in a spot, and the band couldn't do it. And I was just like, oh, this is so nice, only bringing my shit.
Yeah.
It was like so much
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, that's
But-
the thing about two people too. Not having to take all those amps or
Yeah.
or organize everyone's schedule
Yeah.
became an advantage.
We can
at some
fit
point.
everything in one car with us. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Yeah, that's the big thing is like scheduling.
Oh, massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So difficult to get everyone together.
It's
I mean, we also both work.
Yeah.
You know, like I have 2 jobs. He has a job too, and he lives in Whittier. I live in Fullerton.
Mhm.
So it's like it's still tough to get together all the time, but it's definitely easier that it's just the 2 of us to do that.
yeah,
It's true.
my drummer's in Long Beach. Our lockouts in Long Beach.
Mm.
We used to practice here sometimes, but once you got the lockout,
That's awesome.
we go over there.
Yeah.
But so it was either him coming to Fullerton or me going to Long Beach, and then I'm looking for a bassist right now because my brother was our bassist and he went back to college,
Ah.
and it's hard to find. Even my brother, when he was in the band, I feel like there's this bassist complex where like you want to be the guitarist, and I've encountered a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And so they won't, like, I'll send them the songs and I'll be like, hey, like, if you want to try out, learn these and then come to practice and, you know, we'll
Yeah.
work it out. And the guys, like, never learn it. They're always, like, improvising over it. And they're
Yeah.
great players, but it's like,
Yeah.
we need to know that you can do this. This is, like,
Yeah.
part of the test to show that you can be competent
Yeah.
and then, like, be part of a team.
Good bass players really
We-
like make
yeah.
or break. All the greatest
Well-
groups have amazing bass players. It's just
Yeah,
it's a
what I was gonna
fact.
say too is like, you know, with the kind of complex thing, I think that's like, you know, because people who play guitar, like it's a string instrument. The bass and the guitar are very similarly set up.
Yeah.
You know, just physically, and so like being able to play the bass as a guitar player is very, very easy. But like the people who actually really want to play bass, they will do it well. You know?
Yeah,
And,
that's
like,
what I'm
That's who
looking
you
for.
want. Yeah.
But it's tough. I mean, it's tough anyway. You guys, I'm assuming, are in your 20s,
Yeah,
Yeah.
22.
and sorry, I'm having a little glitching going on
No,
in
no
there.
worries.
But yeah. So we're in our 20s, and we've got jobs and
Mhm.
drama and bullshit. And so to find somebody that wants to be in your band as well is like,
Yeah,
it's just tough.
it's worked out pretty well for us because we're friends. Like
Yeah.
I still talk to Pascal even if we're not talking
Like, we've
about
been-
music stuff.
We've been friends for almost 8 years and like spent day after day, like 14 hours a day with each other, like all the time. So like, I feel like writing songs and like, even when we're playing and we're drunk and we fuck up and
Mhm.
we're like looking at each other to try and like, you know, get on the same page. It's like, it's always like super easy.
It's tough to find. It's tough to just have I don't know an easy route to songwriting in
Yeah.
general. You know,
But when you know the person a little bit better,
Yeah.
it kind of,
makes
Exactly.
it
you understand what they're going for because you know the kind of stuff they listen to,
Yeah.
their intent.
What
Yeah.
they, you know, like a little bit of like their mannerisms and stuff like that.
And
Like,
if you're okay saying like this is cool, I'm glad like this.
Yeah.
know what I mean,
Yeah.
if you're cool like throwing ideas around, really like you know what I mean, tossing it all up in the air.
that's
Right.
part of the
some
reason
real
why
good things can happen.
when we like, you know, lost Sam and Tomas, who were our guitar player and our bass player before, one of the reasons why we decided not to, you know, try out other players and like try and add someone is because like the biggest thing I think between like us about the music and like playing is not like skill level or anything like that, but more like, yeah, like that personal connection. Like,
Right.
I know, like, this is my best fucking friend,
Mhm.
you know, and like to add someone in there, like I would have to like,
Yeah, that's a part of being in a band is
Yeah.
like now you don't say it, but basically, as looking for another bassist, I'm looking for somebody to be a friend.
Yeah, totally.
Like you have to be a
100%.
friend for it to be good, and it's like this
You're gonna spend
unspoken
so much
thing.
time together.
Yeah.
there's
Can
that-
you point that like up towards you a little bit
Yeah.
more? I didn't expect you to be so tall.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You're so tall.
No,
But
no.
there's that BB King quote, I think, where he says, I hope I'm not paraphrasing, but he's like 75% man, 25% ability. You know what I mean? 75% person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's truly like, if you're going to spend that much time with somebody, they should be your friend. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a relationship. It's like
Yeah.
any relationship, really. Like, why would you want to date somebody that's not your friend?
Right.
Fuck
Yeah. No,
that.
seriously.
Fuck
Yeah.
that. Like, seriously.
There's
Yeah.
this photographer. He from 70s. I mean, he does like sports stuff now, but he would like take pictures of Humble Pie, Led Zeppelin, like bands like that, like professional pictures. Michael Zagaris, and I was getting a lot of shit for having a Fender Squier guitar, you know, because it's like that's not a real Fender,
Yeah.
you know. So I scratched out the Fender part. I mean, but I made it look nice. I like sanded it down, and then with a wood burner, I wrote like in fancy cursive "expensive" where like Squier used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody asked, I'd be like, I have an expensive guitar.
Expensive, yeah.
But I posted a picture of
So
it,
funny.
and he's been around like amazing bands, and you know, in the green room with them. And he messaged me and he's like, "Hey man, it's the Indian, not the Arrow." And I'm like, dropping knowledge.
It's
Yeah.
true. Because, I mean, we've recorded with Squires before. We've used
Yeah.
them for our stuff.
I
And
mean,
the
yeah.
basses, you know, we do Squires basses and guitars. And it was
Well,
like,
I think these days the Squires are made better than they used to be.
yeah.
But
big
like,
time.
if you take like a Squire Jag, like that's made within the past 10 years, and then one that was made in the 80s, they're just harder to set up and get right.
Yeah, they're so easy to just pick up and play. Really, like I wouldn't recommend a guitar to anybody else first time. I think you know what I mean. Like
Right.
off the bat, Squire. Like,
The
dude,
way I
Yes.
think about it,
those are gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
the way I think about it is just like, you know, of course I would love to have like a really nice US made
American,
Yeah.
Stratocaster, just like, you know, in a white with like a cream color guard,
Yeah.
like pick guard. That sounds so fucking sweet. But like, the people who are gonna notice the difference between like a US made and a Mexican made,
Yeah.
or like a Fender and a Squiire,
Yeah.
are the musicians, the people who know instruments and like are listening to that. But like for me, like
Dude, I could there's
My-
no way I'm telling
yeah.
a difference off of an
when I was
recording.
young, when I was young, I was like, I would
people are
love.
liars like that.
Yeah.
I swear.
When I was young, I would save up money so I could get like, you know, spend like $500 on like a real Fender made in Mexico or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, I play a $50 Squier that I got at the pawn shop because
Yeah.
it's like when I'm playing like in front of people, they're not gonna know the fucking difference. And second, it's not gonna fucking matter
Right.
because I've got like, some effects on there,
Sure.
and I'm just fucking. It's gonna be done when
I
I'm,
had a sort of a dilemma with me, like when I had instruments growing up, not nice ones. My dad gave me like his old ones, or you know, when I bought a guitar, I just spent like, you know, $100 and got a Fender Squier or something.
And that was like a proposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like my deal that I had made with myself was I'm not gonna get a nicer guitar until I'm a better player.
Exactly.
Like when I feel I deserve it.
it's a good deal.
And then my friend Miguel, he was telling me that he found this guy who was selling it was a Fender Squier body, but he replaced the neck, the pickups, like everything on it with
exactly.
American-made Fender parts. So it's an American-made Fender except for the body part,
Except for
Yeah.
just the body. Yeah.
which is like the part that I mean,
makes a huge difference. Yeah.
it does, but like
But really,
It's not.
it's
I
not
mean,
crucial.
it's more solid guitar than I've ever had though. Like
Yeah.
you hold
Yeah.
that thing, you're like, oh, this is a guitar.
To me, it's like the neck, dude. Like the
Yeah,
way
the
the
neck's
neck,
important.
Yeah,
and the
gotta
neck
be
is
playable.
everything. Like, so when people like do that, my uncle put a really nice Telecaster neck on a guitar too.
Yep.
And it was just like it made all the difference in the
Yeah.
world.
My old Squier, when I compare the two, the Squier neck feels like plywood.
It's crap.
I
Yeah,
like
and
the-
when you really feel it,
Yeah.
it's such a difference.
I like the way the Telecaster neck feels,
Me
but I
too.
just don't like the
I don't,
maple.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't like maple at all. I'm a
I
big
wish it was
rosewood, big rosewood
Brazilian
fan.
rosewood, yeah.
I don't
Okay.
own a maple guitar. The only one I own is that bass.
I think it feels nicer, you know, like the maples. It's really, I mean, maple is a really strong wood, you know, it's like super dense and
Yeah.
like really hard, and so like you can feel that in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
But like rosewood is just a little bit softer, and like the oils with your skin, like that's
It
why
takes
they use
less
'cause-
of you really
Yeah.
to play it, which is like I think that's why it's attractive to players.
I mean, I'm not the best player yet. Like, I'm growing my abilities, so I can still be kind of like just simple with things and be like, I think it's pretty. I want that one.
Yeah.
and not
Oh,
care too much
yeah.
about like.
That's
like-
all the
It's like the analogy of like, okay, when Michael Phelps shaves his whole body before he goes like to the Olympics,
Oh, he has
like-
a guy who does that for him. You know that.
I bet.
I would kill
It's
for
me.
that job. I
But-
would kill for that job.
But for him to do that, those fractions of a second actually matter.
yeah,
You know, but when a high school student is shaving their whole
do you
body
think
for
you
a
are?
swim meet, it's like, what the fuck is
Come
the
on.
point? You're not like,
yeah.
you know.
You're
and
not
I-
on that level.
And it's like, if you give me the nicest guitar in the world, I'm going to play it the same way I play my Squire because I don't have the skills. It's like almost, I'm not worthy of that yet.
That's
you know
what
what I mean?
think
Yeah.
too. Yeah, I only got, you know what I mean, the things that I wanted to get when I realized why I wanted them too. You know what I mean? And for recording and stuff like that, it does make a bit of a difference. You know, the pickups that you have.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because to me, it's like neck pickups, and then literally how it feels when you hold it. Those are the three like biggest things. The body and like what's. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't care as much. It's a big deal overall, but
I don't think the body,
I'm
like,
not concerned as much.
unless you're talking about like hollow body, semi-hollow.
Oh yeah, well it cuts. Yeah,
Yeah, but if it's just a solid body, I don't think
Solid
it matters
electric.
too
The
much.
body- like-
acoustic guitars massive.
Oh, yeah.
Material,
It
everything
affects, like,
massive. But
I mean, the body, like the wood and like the thickness of the wood and stuff like that affects the tone a little bit, but it's not. It's like I said, it's one of those things where it's like
So
the
minute.
people who are going to be able to tell
very many.
are the people who are like
Oh, that's like. How could you tell the body?
would
I wouldn't be able to tell.
anyone who's listening right now who knows who Andy from Pro Guitar Shop is.
Yeah, dude.
You're the
Andy's Pro
motherfucker.
Guitar.
You're the motherfucker who's gonna notice the difference. But anyone who doesn't know who that is not gonna ever know the difference between a fucking American-made Fender and a Mexican-made Fender or whatever.
He's the reason I bought my Earthquaker device's Avalanche Run.
Earthquake.
He's the reason I fucking live and
Can you
breathe.
move that closer to the edge? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, Earthquaker's pretty good.
I love that pedal. Yeah, I've never gotten a chance. I never had one, but I've gotten a chance to play one, and it was super.
See, but the funny thing is, I bought this pedal a year ago because of his demo of it, and this whole time that I've had it, I've known that the reason why it sounds so badass is because he uses an expression pedal,
That makes a ton of
which
sense.
he changes the timing of the delay, so it's like as it's
Without
playing.
having to, yeah,
Without having to
be
do it, and
controlling
that's
the
why that
knobs,
pedal's awesome.
That's
But I've
true.
had it for a year, and I still haven't bought a $40 expression pedal.
Well, it's like that cockfight.
Oh yeah.
Wall overdrive or whatever. It's such a sick pedal, but unless you have an expression pedal, it doesn't seem to be as effective.
My clean signal is an American-made Strat going through a
I know.
65 amp Soho.
I don't think. Yeah,
Hi, this is Andy from Pro Guitar.
Hi, it's James from Pro Guitar Shop.
I know a guy
I'm gonna
who.
play a couple clean licks right now.
It's so crazy to me that he doesn't use a pick too, because
Oh,
he's
yeah,
just
I know,
so.
yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need it, and I'm like, it looks like he's got a pick. No, he doesn't.
I
have a pick.
never really liked using a pick, but I can't do what he's doing.
Fuck
you know what I mean,
meeting,
without
fuck
that,
meeting
like,
Jagger. I want to meet Andy.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy from Pro Guitar
I think
Shop.
everyone like has a secret crush on Andy from Pro
I think
Guitar
it's
Shop.
because
I
he's
have,
so
I've masturbated
versatile.
to a couple demo
He's-
videos.
he is, yeah. He's truly one of the better people to show you what's going on with various things.
I don't watch others.
We're talking
Video.
about-
I don't watch other
just
demo
a- we're
videos.
just-
When
She
I
hasn't
see them
gone
and
Andy.
it's not Andy,
yeah,
I'm like,
Andy, please.
Yeah. Why would I watch your video?
well, the reason why I like,
Why don't they have shirts with this fucking face on it or something? They
I
could.
want one.
I bet they do.
Someone's made it.
But
Someone's made it.
we should make it right now. Screen print.
Screen
some of
print
it
them.
back. Yeah.
Hell
God.
yeah, Andy.
Think about it. Andy's definitely not a virgin. We know that.
Oh,
you know?
no, dude.
Like,
God, no. Are you serious? He gets people thrown at him every night.
think about
He's
the
fucking- he's a
caliber of
celebrity.
people who have had sex with him. Probably like.
Oh, Pamela Anderson for sure.
How do we
Yeah,
know?
who
Wait, what do you mean
hasn't,
for
though?
sure?
Oh, for sure. Andy?
It's
Are
like once you
serious?
reach a certain level of celebrity, you
Pamela
have sex with
Anderson
Pamela
has sex
Anderson.
with you.
Yeah.
No. Once you reach a certain level of celebrity, you have sex with Andy.
There you
Yes,
go.
like
That's how it works.
I think
So
that's
Pamela
when you,
Anderson
no,
reached
you have to
that point
achieve
and she
Nirvana.
did.
You have to
There you
achieve
go.
Nirvana.
No,
before you
Nirvana
go.
had sex with her too.
Nirvana did really.
They did. They
I
reached
love
that
Nirvana.
point, I
He's
think.
great.
That one guy.
Oh my god.
I love that. His
What's
song
his name?
Amber.
What?
Amber's the color of her energy.
Oh my
By
god.
Nirvana?
By Johnny Nirvana.
If
Sorry,
any,
I'm trying
the
to-
people are gonna hate this. People are gonna hate this. They're like, no, it's not.
Johnny Nirvana.
It's not Johnny Nirvana.
Not Johnny Nirvana.
You know that was 3 guys, right?
You know they're a band, right?
These guys are
Yeah,
fucking
people are.
stupid.
You're gonna get some fucking heat for this one.
You know, it's funny because like the YouTube.
Let's talk about abortion.
Just toss it right in there.
I'm down to have one.
Let's do it on the air right now.
Oh my god.
First ever male pregnancy and abortion, same term.
I hate how like it's so like if you really wanted to have millions of views on YouTube or something like that, it's so easy. You just have to be a
Seems like
complete
it.
asshole and
Seems like
do
it.
something that nobody wants you to be doing on video.
Yeah.
And then it's like instantly.
Like Tyrone.
Oh, Tyrone.
I love
Who's Tyrone?
Tyrone. Tyrone's that like big dude who goes up to people and he's like,
huge dude.
I'm Tyrone and fuck this smoking cigarette
He just
shit.
smacks their cigarettes out of their hands.
Oh,
He just goes
God.
around Philadelphia just smacking cigarettes out of his hands.
That's
Oh,
brilliant.
God.
Dude, and some
He's
people
actually
obviously are not.
He's actually
not very interested in that.
a Berkeley graduate who has just this passion for comedy.
That's see like that's
Affronting.
a little bit it's too aggressive for me like
way too
Yeah.
aggressive.
the reason
I would
why
never do something like that.
He's huge.
I
too.
liked like Jackass because they pretty much only hurt themselves,
Pretty
you know?
much, yeah.
And then
they never. Yeah, they just did funny little
they
skits.
played
that-
some tricks on people, but nobody ever like they didn't get in anybody's face or like get
Yeah.
to like
Nobody's
fight
day
status.
was truly affected
No.
by what they did.
But then
Yeah.
there's these guys that like
bum fights.
yeah, it's just it's
That's the
it's
worst.
hard, man.
Yeah, that
How
stuff is
many
like, oh my
days we
God.
spent watching bum fights?
What?
No, bum fights is terrible.
I've seen all of them. I'm not saying I like them. I'm just saying I've seen all of them.
There's a phenomena about bum fights that's just strange.
Well, it's
I mean,
like
the
it's
fact
like
that humans
UFC.
did that to other humans.
It's like UFC. Like honestly, like
What's the
I'm not. I don't
draw?
have anything
Pugilism,
against
you know
people
what I
who
mean? Just
like
straight
that. Like
pugilism.
those guys want to fight each other. That's chill.
Wait,
you
but
guys
do
wanna-
they want to fight each other? Or is it
No,
because
no,
they're
it's
homeless
bum fights.
and need
bum
money?
No, no,
fights
I'm
was
talking
this
UFC,
Thing, these
like-
guys,
Oh.
these guys like did all these really messed up things to
Yeah.
homeless people,
Right.
And like filmed it all.
I mean, that was a
so
big-
no one actually fought each other. I
Yeah.
don't remember a fight on.
I'm
bum
just.
fights.
I'm talking.
Felony fights was when they got people that used to be in prison and they got them to fight each other.
Yeah.
Did you ever see those?
No, but
Those are terrible too.
I remember watching all those
Kimbo
like
Slice,
Kimbo
rest in
Slice
peace.
videos.
Kimbo
It-
Slice
it just
backyard
exactly
Kimbo
what
fights,
Slice,
yeah.
rest in peace.
When he knocks that dude.
Is he dead?
Dude, he
Yeah, he
died.
died.
Yeah,
What?
like
Kimbo
a year
Slice
ago.
died, yeah.
Why? What?
Like a year
Well,
ago,
I don't
or a year
know.
and a half ago, or
He
something.
died. Definitely died. Yeah.
He's dead, dude. Yeah,
So is
I
Michael Clark
remember.
Duncan.
Cause fucking R.I.P. R.I.P. Fucking Kimbo Slice. Yeah.
Kimbo Slice died. This is
I mean,
just
I'm not
hitting you now.
surprised, but like,
Do you
he
need a
couldn't-
moment?
He couldn't. No, he couldn't have been more than like
No, he
45.
wasn't old.
Yeah,
No, he
he
wasn't
was
old.
young.
I think there's got to be something. You know what I mean? There's something else.
drugs or
Steroids. I don't know how that affects your health. Like, you know what I mean? If that could make your heart just like explode, I'd imagine it probably could. I don't know what he died of. Let's find out.
stupidity.
Kimbo Slice died of being too.
I like how everybody
Rest
saw
in peace, fucking Kimbo Slice.
Everybody
Kimbo
saw his
Slice-
backyard
He'd kick my
fights.
he'd destroy me if he heard this shit.
Well, he's dead, so he can't.
Yeah.
But everybody
Well.
saw his backyard fights, and then everybody saw that one video where he clotheslined that fool when they threw
Oh,
a football
yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was like, and I remember just feeling that in my gut, like at 14, watching that on like the first version of
Ouch.
YouTube,
Yeah.
and be like, "Oh,
He
shit."
just took that fool the fuck out.
Yeah, that era of my life was like, all my friends and I would go skating. We'd come back to somebody's house, watch like fight videos,
But,
Kimbo
yeah.
Slice, or porn,
Get
and
high.
then like clear the history, and then like book it and go skate again.
Clear history. We used to go to our friend's skate shop and watch
one of our,
like
one of our best
it was
friends.
like Adventure Time. We'd watch Adventure Time. We watched like Arabian drifting videos.
Arabian
Bum
Drift.
You never
Fights.
seen those?
No.
Oh my god.
What is
Yeah,
that?
it's like these like the dudes.
These guys go like
in the
on
Middle
like
East
two
who,
wheels.
Like,
You know what I mean? Like their cars are just like
Oh yeah,
they
I've
just
seen
drift
like
on the highways.
fools are like
yeah.
flying out of the car and stuff. It's like
Yeah, we watched some
arms
gnarly shit. We used to just like put on videos of like animal fights. And,
World
or,
Star
like,
Hip Hop.
yeah.
World Star is great, obviously, but
I heard that like with the, I didn't know
One
it
of
was
the
called
party
Arabian
members.
drifting, but like
Mm.
I heard with those videos, I've seen some of them before, and people say that like imagine being so filthy rich that you get so bored and you have to do shit like this.
Yeah.
Because like Middle Eastern money, like those dudes have
Oh my
like
God,
so
it's
much
the
money
most-
that they
yeah.
don't.
literally they
it's
have
insane
they
to consider.
they drive their Ferraris, you know, from where to where, and it breaks down in the middle, and they just leave it, and then have someone bring them a new one.
Dude, have you ever seen that clip
There's-
of that dude?
there
He's
are-
like It's like a cop. I can't remember what country it's in, but he's on his motorcycle. And he's just like dancing, like standing up on the back of his motorcycle.
Okay.
No.
It's like holy crap! Like
In a
these
different
guys
country
are-
for
You know,
sure.
they have
It was somewhere around that area. Like
have
because the
car-
stuff they do with cars and
they
motorcycles.
have car graveyards in the Middle East that are just like
They have them in this country.
totaled like supercars.
Wow.
You can look this shit up. Like there's a
I will.
totaled supercar graveyard.
Arabian drifting is actually
I had
nuts.
this
Fascinating.
I went to private school for high school.
me too
And,
for a second.
I did really bad in school, and then they sent me there as like a punishment because it was like
Did you do
where?
better?
I just didn't try,
Yeah.
and so they wanted to bring me somewhere that was more focused, and I ended up having a
Were there girls
rich
there?
relative. There were girls there, yeah,
Did they wear skirts?
yeah,
Okay, so
but they were like rich girls that were not pretty. I feel like
okay.
girls from like the neighborhood are always cuter than like girls that have money.
yeah, but the girls with
course.
money are gonna get plastic surgery later on in life. So like, it just depends on what you're into.
Oh,
you
I'd
know?
rather be like a house
no,
husband
yeah,
for
I'm-
sure. I'd
I'm
rather
all
like
natural, too,
have them
like-
to go be a lawyer.
Well,
and
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not.
Way to go, dude.
Sorry.
These guys had too many.
I'm not. Sorry, I had too many. Literally two.
Well, I went to this private school, and there was these brothers there, and they were the Biltaji brothers, and we were all close for like a minute, and I remember like we were 16 and we were gonna go to a hookah lounge, and these guys drove like nice BMWs at 16 and stuff.
Kids that go to
Me too.
hookah lounges.
Yeah, well, the Biltaji brothers I went to school with.
Biltaji.
And so we're going out, and I'm like, dude, we're not going to be able to get in. I don't have a fake. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. So we get there to the hookah lounge, and it's like this nice place.
Yeah, they usually be nice. Yeah.
And then they see the Biltaji brothers like get out of their cars, and they're all, oh, Biltaji, and they're like talking to
Whoa.
them all like that. And they're like, oh, you're a friend. And then like we're so nice to me. We got everything
The
for
norm of this hookah lounge.
yeah, and we got everything for like free. And then I was like, dude, what the fuck's up with that? And he goes, oh, well, like our family's known like Middle East. And I was like, no, and these fools are like just treating you like kings. And they're like, well, they named like a small country after us over there. And then I looked it up, and Biltaji is like a small country. over there.
Really?
So these
That's
dudes are like,
gnarly.
but they kept it so secret, you know? And
Yeah.
it's just like they could go anywhere and do anything.
Yeah,
Dude,
that sounds
yeah,
tight.
that's
I'd be down.
insane.
That sounds tight, but
How do you get that job?
you have to be born into it, I guess.
Get that gig.
They were really nice guys, but we just were into different things at a certain point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it felt weird always
It
having
doesn't sound like I'd have a
everything
lot in
paid
common
for.
with them.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it would be fun.
After a while, it felt like they were like babysitting me because they had so much money and they were just always
Yeah.
taking care of everything. Got weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd be down to be a sugar baby. I'd be down to have a sweet teat to suck on.
I've logged into the
That's one way
websites
to
and
put it.
seen the options.
Have
but
you? Are they options like fair? Because I mean,
Options.
I'm yeah. you
like
know,
the cougar
and shit.
sites.
There's
I mean,
cougar
it's like one of the
sites.
like you could have
What a
like a
day
sugar
to-
mama.
I'm down to just wait until my girlfriend gets like really successful, and then she just like wants to buy me a house or like
It's more natural that way.
yeah, you know.
I mean,
It's
the
more
time
natural getting a house
No, it
bought
is.
for you that way.
No, it is. You
the
know.
times they are changing.
Yeah,
She'll do it.
she's. I mean,
She'll
we're
do
not.
it.
Women
we don't
first.
Wanna,
Women should be heads of the household.
we don't want to
now.
buy houses for each other until we're married, but we'll see what happens.
That's good.
Portlandia,
Yeah,
a bookstore.
Oh yeah.
Women and women first.
Women and women
Oh,
first.
I
yeah.
love that. Those were such good skits.
Those are great because like I don't think anybody really gets offended by them because they're so funny.
They're just so funny. Yeah, they're really accurate in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
and just really funny.
I don't think they ever say anything like that isn't overtly true.
That's true. Yeah,
They're just like,
I love the one where he's going through. He's like, "Oh, I know I have some pictures on this." He's like going through all his old
Yeah.
devices, like all his old iPhones,
Did you guys see?
iPods, and
oh.
hard
Did you guys
drives
see
and
Fred
stuff.
Armisen's stand up for drummers?
I watched a little bit of it, yeah, and then I was super drunk when I put it on, so I fell asleep.
He said some pretty funny shit. Like, I remember he was talking about like bands in the '50s and like, you know, like Blue Moon and like stuff
Yeah.
like that, and how like, you know, at band practice back then, some guy like one of them showed up and was like, "Let's start the song like this, ooh up, ooh up."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I saw
it's
the
like
part.
that was a style of music for a while where
Yeah.
they were just like, "All right, now everyone
Doo-wop,
comes in,
yeah.
ooh wah," you know,
Yeah.
like.
Singing groups, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Singing groups just like owned music for so long.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
You know, especially the ones coming out of LA, like how densely populated with singing groups LA was.
All right,
in
you're gonna be the
50s.
guy that goes bump, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
It was so dorky, but it was like those dudes got pussy.
Yeah, the coasters and like all that stuff.
It was fucking stupid. If
Um,
you're a band from the 30s or the 20s
Well,
or
Miles
the 50s,
Davis
you
and
can
his band
suck.
too.
Yeah,
All
no.
them. Did you see
Except for
Mark
you, Miles
Maron's
Davis.
Mark Maron's stand up?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, dude, Mark Maron's so funny.
Have you seen that video of Jimi Hendrix back when he was playing backup guitar for
Little Richard?
Little Richard, and he's doing like all
Yeah.
the moves and everything.
Uh-huh.
It's just so weird to see that guy doing
It's
that.
hilarious.
But that's
yeah.
where a lot of the guys like. I mean, this is what I've heard. That's where they learned their chops because they would be playing all the time and
Hell yeah.
just like
Yeah.
All
and a lot
the-
of it was surf rock oriented, surprisingly, to where like they
tons.
were playing a lot of notes, so
Mhm.
they learned how to play the instrument. But
Well, and he's playing rock and roll. Like Little Richard's
Yeah.
real rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the definitive early artist, really. Like
one of
to
the first
me,
dudes to wear makeup too on stage
black
and
guy
stuff.
from the South that's questionable in his sexuality, making
Yeah.
rock and roll music. This dude is like pushing some
came-
boundaries here. Like,
He came to my grandpa's church. He was like a big church guy, and he like,
oh my god,
he was-
yeah, he was huge gospel,
Yeah.
huge gospel music guy.
but
too.
like rock and roll as fuck.
yeah, the most.
Next to the Strokes, the most rock.
Albert Hammond Jr. and Little Richard, right there.
No, dude, no.
It never ends in California, you know.
Say again.
Albert Hammond Sr.
Get closer to the mic, Jacob.
You never heard Albert Hammond Sr.?
I still
Yeah,
think
he's the race car
311
driver,
is
right?
the best.
Who?
311.
Oh, the best.
Yeah,
That
that's
song where
rock
they
and
go,
roll. That's rock and roll.
down, down. You know what I'm talking about?
No, they've
yeah,
got that one where it
and
goes,
that's the
"Come as you are," right? That's
oh, that's
311.
Yeah, Johnny Nirvana.
That's Johnny Nirvana.
No, that's 311.
Oh, he was in that band before Johnny Nirvana, before his solo career. That's right.
311, what's your emergency?
Dude, you know what I read though is that the reason I hate that I know this. The reason that they the reason that they named themselves 311 is because like it was like a police code for like public nudity in like they're like from like Oklahoma or some shit,
Yeah.
and it's just like that was their local police code for like public nudity. Like that's a
If you're from Oklahoma, send us your mail.
I mean,
to find out the police
You'll
code.
love this
You
joke.
will win.
You'll love this joke
Yeah.
if you're from Oklahoma, dude.
It's. I mean, pretty much every band name's pretty stupid.
Pretty
though.
stupid. Puddle of Mud.
Except for ours.
Except for yours, yeah.
No,
But like, think about it. Like, Radiohead is very loved, and they're great musicians.
Radiohead.
But the name is so cheesy. Radiohead.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
wow.
like nobody
So
has a
deep.
radio
there's only
for
so
it.
many. There's only so many good band names. Really, I always thought Coldplay was kind of a pretentious.
Yeah, and
I was
little
saying
name,
to
like I don't know,
yeah.
Coldplay. It's not that bad.
Coldplay came on at work the other day, and it was really depressing me. And I was thinking there should be like an antithesis band for every band. So like for Coldplay, it'd be like Hard Work or something like that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like or Hot Work. And like like bands are just complete opposites of each other.
yours would be the Helen Mirrams.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would like
no,
that.
you have to.
A whole band of Helen Mirren? Like that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm racking my brain now too.
Yeah, I'm
think
trying to,
our
like, think of
antithesis
ones.
Band.
None. We don't have one.
The Glenn. I feel like
Glenn
the
Levitt.
The
opposite.
Glenn Gleasons or
Glenn
something.
Levitt's.
The Glenn Levitt's.
That sounds good. Glenn Fittich, maybe.
You,
We'll be
you
the
ha-
Johnny Walker Blacks.
Oh my god! I have no idea if this band is good or not, so I'm gonna shit talk
They're-
a band name right now. But I saw a poster for one, and it was it's obviously like a folk country band, and their band name is The Folks and Company, and I'm like, it's like the most
John Mayer playing
generic.
with you, or-
Like,
Yeah.
it's like
That's the worst,
That's the
yeah.
most generic way of saying we play folk Grateful Dead-ish.
Do you guys
shit.
have a washboard in your back line?
Dude, wasn't there didn't Fred Armisen or somebody do a Mumford and Sons like parody?
Oh god, that's so funny. No, but that would be great.
Somebody
I
did
can't
one. It was
stand
so
Mumford
funny.
and
I was getting dinner with my mom in downtown Fullerton, and there was at Burger Parlor and at Night Owl right next door. They were having like a Christian.
Oh, open mic or something.
It was like it wasn't open mic, but there was like this like Christian twosome. It was like a guy on acoustic guitar and
That's
a girl
hot.
singing.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hot,
That's
dude.
hot.
Just full on complete penetration.
Oh,
Dude,
No,
at the
but
Night Owl.
it's like I have nothing against religious music at all, but like
I do.
acoustic music,
Like I don't like it.
Oh god,
Acoustic
it's
music.
horrendous.
acoustic music, I can't get behind it unless it's like folk.
Sure,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, 'cause
there's
it's like if it's just like some like
It's
it's
so-
usually like an Asian girl on YouTube like sitting in front of
I
like
just
a
feel like
ukulele.
it's so
you know what I mean?
it lacks sincerity to me. Like it always seems like just a formulaic way to write an acoustic song that the mass majority of people on Facebook are gonna like or something.
It's
It's
not
for people who
impressive.
don't like.
It's not impressive.
It's for people who aren't looking for anything more in music than the message. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, what are you saying? You're saying what I agree with? Okay, cool. I don't care what the fuck you're playing. I don't
Right.
care what it sounds like. I don't care. It sounds uplifting.
Yeah.
Sounds inspirational. Cool. Like, I don't look deeper into
Right.
my music and try to see meaning or
Also-
artistic expression.
Also, what's up with cajones? That's not a fucking drum.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
but dude,
this
how
is
can
a cajon.
100.3
Like, you know,
how
like
can 100.3 be a fucking Catholic rock radio station now? Like,
I thought it was 100.3 the beat.
no, the
No, it
sound.
was the
It was the
sound.
sound.
Wait. 100.3.
100.3
the
the sound was
sound.
the classic rock station. They play like albums. They do
Oh.
like music history.
what happened was
whatever.
like the
Are you sure that wasn't 101.3?
100%,
No,
100.3. Because
it's
I'll see
100.3.
the ads on the buses
I'm
pass by
thinking
now.
101.1.
101.1 is
Yeah.
KLOS? Or?
Yeah.
K Earth 101.
K-Earth.
KRth, yeah.
101, yeah.
KLOS is
KRF
95.
101,
Yeah,
KRF 101,
95.5.
KRF 101, KRF 101, KRF 101.
Oh, yeah.
Give me fucking money, give me
I
fucking
can
money.
do
give me
it,
fucking
dude.
money.
There's no way I could do it, dude. I'd have too much like pressure. I'd be waiting for them to say go, and I'd be like,
I'd take like just a bunch of speed before. and-
KRS-One, KRS-One, KRS-One.
I hate how they,
KRS-One.
I hate how they like end up taking like a bunch of money away from them because they like slurred some of it.
Yeah.
and I'm like,
There's like, you didn't really say it. So we're going to cheap you out of the money we definitely promised you for doing this very
Like,
dumb
show me the
thing.
recording, and we are going to fucking state
so
court.
you ever like listen to those radio shows and you're like,
Never.
holy shit, how are they, how are they giving out like so many tickets to things, right?
Yeah.
So I found out how they're doing it. So when you win tickets, they don't mail it to you. You have to come pick it up from their studio.
Ah,
So if you don't pick it up the next day, they give it to somebody else.
that's hot.
Who's this lucky person that gets all the tickets that
Whoever's saying
No,
that up
well, like,
front, they probably sell
KLOS.
them off. They resell them. Probably.
Yeah, they just
they
they just
do,
give them
yeah.
away again, and if that person doesn't pick them up, then they give it away again. So it
Weird.
creates this illusion that they're giving away a lot of tickets, and you like, but it's
But
really
it's just
like
they have
you have
like
to go get them
100
the
tickets.
next
They have like 3
day.
tickets, and
Yeah.
they're just
That's
like no
so
one comes to pick
fucking
them up.
dumb.
yeah,
Be here in 30 minutes, you can get a ticket.
yeah, pretty much.
Clock's ticking.
Oh my god. So what's next for you guys, music wise? What are you doing?
Right now, we're in the process of making like a little video.
We're gonna do the video, and then we have hopefully a few shows in June. We're definitely gonna get them recording coming up soon because we just got a decent space that we could use
Cool.
over in Santa Fe Springs.
Yeah,
and-
our recordings have been shoddy, and like
yeah.
sessions have been few and far between because like, you know, most of our recordings are from when we were a 4-piece.
Okay.
And so it's like, you know, we had 4 different people playing, and you know, there's no chance Tomas is listening to this, but if he was, he would probably agree with me in saying
He's my
that
biggest fan. No, just
He
kidding.
wasn't. You know, we had to re-record a lot of parts sometimes because, you know, of like timing and stuff like
Sure,
that. But like, so most of our recordings and they're also poorly mixed and like recorded at, you know, a studio in Fullerton or a studio
Yeah,
in
combining
LA,
tracks from different studios. You know what I mean?
so it's, you know, nothing
patchwork stuff.
nothing solid.
What's to stop you guys from just recording it yourself?
That's what we're gonna.
That's
That's,
what we
that's
do,
the
yeah.
plan.
Cool.
That's the plan now. We've been like approaching this inevitable point. You know what I mean?
I'm not
Trying
saying
to
I wouldn't record at like a studio and have a
Well,
producer.
I've,
like,
I've been engineering for years.
Oh,
like,
okay.
and
Then you
I-
should be doing
I
it
studied it in
yourself.
school
Yeah.
too, so like I know what I'm doing when it comes to that stuff.
yeah,
And now that we have a space to do it and, you
Nice.
know, enough equipment and things like that, it really isn't a problem.
yeah,
we
we were kind of
actually-
in purgatory there for a second.
We
with all our
almost
gear,
started today.
so.
I can. I mean, I've always recorded my own stuff,
Yeah.
and every song that I make, it is better recording wise.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. we
and-
always find
Yeah.
these things and move forward.
But the only thing I've never been able to record myself because I didn't have all the mics was the drums.
yeah.
But besides that, you know, I would send the drums to my buddy who plays drums, and he has his setup, and he'd send it to me, and it was like I can get 6 songs completely done and that sound crisp in a month,
Mhm.
you know. But then I see these bands, and their goal is to like have a studio record for them,
Oh
Like,
yeah,
dude,
no.
you guys are
Yeah.
wasting your
Yeah,
money.
wasting
Yeah,
wasting
wasting
time
Well,
and money.
yeah.
Maybe they're not wasting their time and money because maybe they seriously have no knowledge of recording.
Well, it's just like,
You really just can't like run at it. Like
No.
yeah,
you know,
music like
that
music
would-
studios, and like there are studios that you want to record at.
Sure.
But there are also plenty of studios that are also like agents in Hollywood, and it's
Right.
like they're not there because they're going to make you something
Right.
or even make you a product that you're satisfied with. They are there to say, "You're so good. Let's get you in the studio. You'll only pay $35 an hour,"
Yep.
which is like
yeah, what am I gonna get done in 1 hour? I'm
You
gonna
know.
set up, and that's gonna be like 25 minutes.
yeah.
of
Oh, you want to do 5
big-
songs? We should probably do 8. I mean, why not do 8? You
Yeah.
know, like
You guys want to keep going? Do another one?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I had this girl Sarah Tudson on the podcast, and she works at a studio, and she was recording one of my favorite bands, Iris. They're good buddies of mine, but
Yeah,
their
from the
sound
90s?
is huge. No.
Oh.
It's IRESS.
Oh, okay.
But their sound is like
the
huge,
90s.
and they're so good. And she's recording them, and she's one of those people like. She's somebody that you would want to record you because she's like she understands bands. She's in
I
her
was
own band,
thinking- I was
Illuminati
thinking of
Hotties.
Ivy. Sorry. I was thinking of
Ivy?
Yeah.
I don't know the band or the band.
Sorry.
The band.
The band.
The band.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
But
No,
I
no.
had to remember that.
But
She's
she's one of those
somebody,
people
yeah.
that you would want.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean,
Well, yeah, like there's spots
she's
that
a friend.
There's
There's only
spots
so
that you
much-
want to record at.
And
there's
there's only so much money you could spend that's actually beneficial to you.
And
You
the
know
other
what I mean?
thing-
It starts to
yeah.
become at some point it reaches that threshold where it becomes like you're losing something.
And
You
like-
could be
Right.
doing better. We have microphones. We have interfaces. We have bought all the programs. You pay for the subscription to Pro Tools.
Yeah.
We might as well be doing this shit ourselves.
And the
Like,
other
yeah,
thing,
fuck, like-
the other thing too is like, music is art, and like when you are creating a recording, like you're creating a painting essentially, like an equivalent of like a masterpiece painting.
sure.
And so like you need to think outside the box. If you just follow the dotted
Yeah.
lines, follow the numbers, like you're not going to get something original and unique. And like when I was first starting to produce, I was really into like analog stuff. When I went to college, I ended
Yeah.
up realizing that all of my classes were on computers and shit.
Yeah.
It's
but,
all
like,
digital.
Well,
I was
analog's
super
fun for
yeah,
sure.
It is.
Yeah.
And like the other thing too is like I've read tons of books and articles and stuff like that on producers from like the 80s and shit who were like, "Oh, let's try like when the levee breaks, Led
Mhm.
Zeppelin,
Recording it in a hallway. and-
recording at the John Bonham's at one end of the hallway. They
Mhm.
had two, I think they're Neumann mics at the end of at the
Some
other end of the
good
hallway.
fucking
And it's like
microphones.
that's how they recorded the track.
Yeah.
And
it's
so you
crazy.
got to think outside the box.
Those
So
things
like
don't pick up
we're recording
know-
my drum kit right now with 4 mics.
Nice.
You
yeah.
know,
No,
kick, snare, or no, it's 3 mics. We have kick, snare, and overhead.
I've recorded drums with one mic before.
Yeah.
we've
And
done
I,
that,
I did
yeah.
Omni, but I set it up. I found the right spot.
Yeah.
And it had enough. It was still garagey, but
There's so much
That's-
trial and error.
and that's
So
the
much
thing, you
trial
know,
and error and like troubleshooting in general.
do you know that classic like 80s sounding drum? Like yeah.
Yeah.
So like I
Like
guess
the toms that really ring out. Like,
Yeah.
And then the snares
Yeah.
are just like
Dum.
yeah.
I guess that that was like a recording accident, but it was because a guy had his own studio and he forgot to he had like a mic hanging in the middle of the room and that he forgot to turn off. And then that was on that song "Don't Shock the Monkey," I
Okay,
think.
yeah.
And that was the first song that had those
Yeah.
80s drums. And then like when people heard that, they're like, "Dude, how the fuck did you do that?" And he's like, "I just had a mic hanging in the room as I had
And
all
he
the other
had
drums
yeah.
mic."
Well,
so
yeah,
that's
we
why-
always try to have a room mic at least, but that's pretty gnarly
Yeah.
too.
But it's like it's a creative accident.
Exactly.
And then
Well, it's
every
like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is
There's
like
so many
you might
things-
not have that
If
freedom in a
everyone-
studio because
if-
somebody's gonna say you can't do that. Turn that
Very
mic
true.
off.
yeah, and that's
You
the
get
thing
the
is
chance,
with
you know what I
with
mean?
that's why I
To
say
make
that music
mistakes.
is an art and making a recording is a work of art because like there's no structure to it. If there was a pattern you should follow, and that's why sometimes I get like kind of not upset but like ticked off when people are like, "Oh, well, that piece of equipment isn't as good as this." Because like yes, quality is a thing.
We were just talking about with the Squires.
Quality,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Quality is a
Same
thing,
shit.
but like if you want like a lo-fi sound, why not use a Squire?
Yeah.
Do you want to
Seems
use a
like the
super
obvious-
clean American
the
made and
obvious
try and
choice.
make it sound lo-fi, or do you want to use a lo-fi guitar? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and it's just like things like that. Like, you have to work outside the box. Put
Yeah.
your drum kit at the end of the fucking hallway.
Yeah.
If you don't give yourself the chance, you know what I mean, to try and
Yeah.
fail, like, and to make adjustments, like, I don't think you could truly get the best product. Like,
Yeah.
when you're working on something, I mean, we'll try, get to the end point and realize, like, still not good enough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Once you
Yeah.
get it with everything, the full sound,
Yeah.
you need to see the big picture. And you should be okay with, I guess, going back and redoing shit.
For me, it's like, as far as writing a song, the best songs I've ever written, I mean, to me, were ones that were finished within 3 days max.
Oh, yeah.
But then when
totally.
it comes to like recording it, like
Oh,
I'll redo it a bunch of times, but the song pretty much stays the same.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
play a song live too that we've recorded and done a million times, and we'll like, you know what I mean? In practice, we'll hit a spot and it's like, that sounds good. Like, let's do it like this from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the recording has to inherently change.
Right.
You know what I mean? From now on. So,
But
but
it doesn't
not necessarily.
because
No,
I've
no,
seen
you're right, not
bands that change
inherently,
it
I
live
guess,
and then
yeah.
you're like,
not
oh
inherently,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you
so
can do,
cool.
we do songs where we do it slower in the recording, faster live,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's that thought that like, damn, we do have a recording of this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
like, you have to factor all of this into your thought process, I
Yeah.
guess. But if you're okay with adjusting and like,
Yeah.
still,
I think
tweaking
fans
your
like
songs.
variation in sets though.
Well, I mean, I
very
always,
true,
I
very
always
true.
did.
I do. Yeah,
You
I
know,
look
like,
for that. I definitely look for that.
I always remember, you know, my parents coming home from seeing the Pixies, and like, you know, the Pixies are fucking great.
Yeah.
You know, and like they're one of my favorite bands. Like, what, you don't like the Pixies?
Not a big Pixies fan, no. Surfer Rosa.
All
I love
right.
Surfer Rosa.
All right.
but
Well,
not a big
they're a
Pixies
really,
fan.
really good band.
They are really.
I'm
I
saying
think
that
you would
because-
agree that they were
but-
influential.
super
to
influential.
many.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
named and all
Yeah.
like consistently.
But
yeah,
anyways,
you
they
know
came
what I mean?
home from the show and they were like, it was so boring to watch.
Oh,
You know,
really?
because like
They
they just
always-
like stand there
Yeah.
playing. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's like there's just like a certain element of like, I mean, maybe that's just them being themselves and they
I
just
remember
want to stand
My cousin
there.
came back from seeing System of a Down, and he was all bummed that Serge Tankian didn't move. You know what I mean? I was like,
I would be
well,
bummed if I went.
That's all.
but-
I
It's
used
just
to
not-
listen to System of a Down when I was younger,
Oh,
and like,
no.
give me a break, younger.
I think they're
But if
playing
I
their
went to
last
that
show,
show,
aren't they?
you know what I mean? I'd just be like, yeah,
Oh, I
they're
don't
they're
know.
doing some shows now.
No, they're playing their last show soon, aren't
Yeah,
they?
soon. And like, I just recently saw this thing that
I
was
think
like they're gonna
someone's
be
trying to
playing in
get
LA.
tickets.
She likes System of a Down.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
I don't really. It's so corny to me, dude.
It's very corny, but there really is no. I could say this for them.
What
If there's
about
one
Avenged-
thing I can give them.
Avenged
There's
Sevenfold?
no other band that sounds exactly like them.
Is Avenged Sevenfold?
Not exactly.
Okay, all right.
There's a lot of bands that
Okay.
do the same thing because they came in like the Limp Bizkit fucking era. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Gorilla
they are
Biscuit?
just as dorky to me.
Exactly.
Just as
Just as dorky, but there's something that's slightly more endearing about them because one, they just sounded a little weirder.
So
And
that-
two, they at least
I'll-
said something.
I'll give you that.
They at least said something ever. Have you ever heard Prison Song?
No,
That's a good one.
So to answer your question, we're making a
But yeah, they're
video.
Oh yeah, you're making a
We're
video.
making
Yeah, I
a
don't like
video, and then we're gonna do some recordings, and we're just gonna keep playing shows.
I don't want to go to bat for System of a Down. Let that be on record.
Move on. I'm trying to get us out of this scotch free.
Scotch?
No, I want to go.
Scotch tape free?
I want to go Scotch. I don't want
Yeah.
to be Scotch free.
No, I want
Alright,
Scotch.
yeah.
I want the Scotch.
I wanna be
Let's
scot-free.
huff some scotch
Limit,
guard.
right?
Let's
Let's
huff some scotch guard.
No, dude. I mean, this gets more listens on like Apple Podcasts and like Stitcher and all the Android podcasts
I
than
don't
like
know what any of that is.
it's where it's more when people are just listening to it versus watching
Yeah,
it on YouTube.
exactly.
Yeah.
It gets like 3 to 4 times as much as like the stuff on YouTube. I think people just listen while they're at work, but
Yeah.
you know, as this keeps going, I've met a bunch of local bands, and I'm getting to know more people, and I get ins with some really great bands, and I have, you know, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, there will be a podcast that does really well because of the band or whatever.
Yeah.
And if people were to go back in the first couple of podcasts, I call out so many bands that I dislike, and I'll stand behind it. I still don't like those bands,
Yeah.
but like, it's my musical taste, and I think some people
Well, there's
are
nothing wrong with
dumbasses.
opinion. You know, that's
Yeah.
why some people are like, "Oh, I think Andy Warhol's a really good artist," and other people say Andy
Well,
Warhol's
that's
not a
art,
good
art,
artist.
art, yeah.
I just had that conversation with the Red Leslies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We know them.
And I told Adrian because he really likes Andy Warhol.
Yeah, I know that fool.
And I said, like, he was explaining it to me, and he's like, okay, but Andy Warhol was trying to show you that, like, there can be beauty in regular stuff, and you don't have to just view things as art when you're at a gallery. And I said, okay, I understand that. And he was like, yeah, so, like, you know, he had this picture or painting of a fire hydrant. And it was like, this can be beautiful, too.
Yeah.
And my point to him was, yeah, but I'd rather look at Salvador Dali than a fucking fire hydrant.
But the point
It's
is,
like-
the point is, that's
Yeah.
your taste.
Exactly.
You know,
and
we
I'm
don't all
completely
like,
okay with
we
that.
don't all like to eat mushrooms in our spaghetti carbonara.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
do.
mean?
There's-
Like,
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and I completely know that, which is why I feel comfortable saying it.
Yeah,
I'm not
music-
saying that Andy Warhol was a horrible person or I
No.
didn't like
he
his
was
person.
a horrible person.
Was he?
Did you know he was a huge anti-Semite?
I didn't know
Big
much.
Hitler
Wasn't
supporter.
Nico, wasn't Nico a big time?
I'm just kidding, but
I
But
don't
then-
think Nico
was
was
she?
though. I think she was. I
Walt
don't know.
Disney
But this
was,
is
we
what
all
I'm
know that.
saying.
Walt Disney.
Is
fuck.
like when I comment on a band, I'm not commenting on anything else other than what they present to us based on their music.
And how
Yeah.
you like it, yeah.
how
That's
you
it.
like.
I'm not
it.
saying they're bad
Yeah.
fathers or
No.
bad like
Good
like,
God, no.
You know,
you
it's
can't
just,
comment on these things.
but people
no.
people say that shit when they're
You
like,
can
oh,
only
so you
comment on how you interpret and perceive their art,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
Right.
it's like, that's why when when some people look at Andy Warhol stuff, they're like, I get it, it's not for me. Just
That's
like
exactly how
I've
I
never
feel.
been the biggest fan overall, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that he had value.
Yeah.
Or
And I
contributed
can-
anything.
I can still say that he was crazy influential for
In
that
fact,
scene.
I
Yeah.
think that the people that
Exactly.
he decided to surround himself with and bring up around him, people like Basquiat, the Velvet Underground, and stuff like that.
He did a big
that's
thing for
actually
art.
bigger for art than what he actually contributed to art
Mm-hmm.
with his own work.
I think he was immensely important.
Super.
I just don't like.
They
his
say
art.
like
That fool
that
got shot.
in that David Bowie song.
He did.
Yeah, he got shot by this crazy
Yeah.
chick who was obsessed with him.
He lived through it, right?
He lived through it, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Andy Warhol, the David Bowie song?
Yeah.
Where he's like silver screen, hang him on my wall. You know what I mean? Like what Andy Warhol silver screen. You know what I mean? Like what he's saying
just-
is like he's. What I think he's saying is that he is
A
the
big
projection
silver screen.
screen for other people to put their art onto and be seen.
Right.
Without the projection, without the silver screen, you can't see the movie right.
Right.
It'll be distorted.
Oh,
It won't
yeah.
have its best picture quality
cool.
and viewing. So
I
I always
always-
thought that was a good point that he made. He's a silver screen.
That's a cool.
He's a
cool
movie
point.
theater.
I usually avoid that song because I just don't like that song.
Ding, ding, ding.
I don't know that
Really?
song. That song,
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
based on all of his. I mean,
I
the
love David
vast
Bowie.
array of Bowie stuff.
He's
I
the
just like
greatest,
the
yeah.
other stuff so much.
So yeah, and then that's the same thing we were talking about art. Like with David Bowie, you can literally pick and choose within his catalog.
It's
you know,
preference,
like
you know?
it's
It's like-
preference
it's
within
just
one
like-
artist. It's not like I don't really like the Pixies. You know, that was a squeaker.
Screecher.
It's not like I don't like the Pixies. I like Surfer Rosa, whatever. Da, da, da. But it's pretty much kind of standard that you could like or not like. You know, certain aspects of it. With
Yeah.
David Bowie, like you could say Andy Warhol has a track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right,
The stylistic
exactly.
choice of that track didn't suit you.
His every album was a different concept album, so you can like a different era of
And
Bowie.
Hunky Dory, in and of itself, will just change so
Bowie's
many
a little
times.
bit different because he had not only different albums, different sounds, but different
characters.
characters. He was different Bowies.
I was explaining this to actually I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was talking about Ziggy Stardust and the concept too, and rock and roll suicide. And in the song Rock and Roll Suicide, it's like this is what we do to our pop stars. This is what we do to our rock stars. We tear them apart on stage. We shred them and murder them, basically. Bastardize them, or whatever you want to call it.
Still my favorite Bowie album.
Kill them. Yeah.
That and Aladdin Sane.
Oh,
for
God,
me.
yeah. I love Low. Low actually really gets me a lot.
That's an album.
Yeah, it's the first one he did with Brian Eno after he
Oh,
came out of rehab, and it's pretty much set up like
I love
doing.
Brian Eno as well.
Oh yeah, the best. It's like doing cocaine is the idea, where it's like it starts off very fast, very
Yeah.
beaty, almost Prince-esque in its like capturing your attention, and then it just trails off and goes down and down and down and down and down into like a song that's called Weeping Wall. You know what I mean? Which is, it's an extremely emotional track. It's almost like choral music at that point.
Okay.
So he like descends into his own depression in the album,
Right.
which mirrors his drug addiction. And
You know what's funny? I mean, I feel this way. I don't know if anybody else does, but like with Andy Warhol, I think we accept, like a lot of people accept that some people don't like him, some people really like him. But when it comes to Bowie, when somebody says they don't like Bowie, people are like,
Go away.
"Are you?"
You don't hear about.
I'm one of those people.
You
I'm
don't
one
hear
of those
about.
people.
You don't hear about people who say they don't like Bowie. You hear about people who say they don't know who that is.
Yeah,
Right.
you haven't heard it, and
If-
if you
if
heard
you
all
know
the
who
songs
that
and
is-
realized he made all those songs that you've definitely heard before,
Yeah.
like you'd be
The
shocked.
other thing too, though, is like the people who I feel like the people who really know, like not really know David Bowie, but it's like
have listened.
if you've
to
heard
it.
if you've heard David Bowie, you've most likely heard a few songs.
Right.
If you've heard a few songs, like you could have heard it from any decade he was
Any
making
album,
music.
Yeah.
you know,
anything,
like,
Yeah.
and so it's like with that much, like if you took a look at his portfolio for like 2 hours,
God,
you would find something
Stunning.
Probably.
to make
I-
you
you'd
say,
have to, like,
I
instrumental
respect this
yeah.
person.
and like you could say that about artists like the Beatles, and like that's the truth. Really, overall, I think that there's something for everyone if you look. But
Sure.
but with David Bowie, it's far more true because he's a
I
bridge
agree.
between the eras of the Beatles and like the hip hop and the DJs.
And the
and
other
stuff.
thing too
where
is
he's
David
made
Bowie,
music that mirrors a lot of the club shit. You know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah.
the like more like
I'm not gonna say
electric.
like,
You know what I mean?
Fame
Beaty
too
shit.
was like
Fame.
he got into disco
Using
for a little bit.
Stevie Ray Vaughan on
Yeah,
that
and,
album
like-
with Niles Rodgers producing and all that stuff, like
With-
really changing his shit up consistently, going
Mhm.
from Tony Visconti to Brian Eno. You know,
and with people like
these
that,
people.
like David Bowie and Brian Eno and Visconti and like all these like with all these people from this
Amazing, yeah.
generation, it's like what sets them apart from like the way the Beatles did it is like the Beatles like were a great band and super popular, and I appreciate them and respect them for what they did, and I like some of their music, but like you know they were
They had to
they
follow
were
a
the-
formula.
they were the,
to a certain
exactly.
extent.
And like with like Bowie and like
He broke
Eno and stuff
formulas,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
like
he
they
truly
weren't
redefined.
trying to be at the forefront, at the
Right.
the most predominant visual element of music in society.
It just
Mhm.
ended
They were
up-
trying to do what they wanted to, what they felt and wanted to express.
and
You know, like,
surprisingly, he always ended up being the person that was the most forward thinking. Like it's like he almost designed all his albums to be like 5 years later, you look back and be like, I get it now. You know what I mean?
And
Like
how-
I get it now. We all just caught up to
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? Now.
and how hot was he too?
Oh
Like,
yeah, easily.
He was a stud.
he was
dude.
a
He's a
stud, dude.
But-
His mugshot is
But
like.
the thing is, like, obviously he was attractive even just physically, but
His
the fact that he had so much confidence to do whatever he wanted.
knowledge.
Have you ever seen
too.
somebody or met somebody that just does everything they've ever wanted to do?
dude?
And then not only do they do everything they want to do, but it's done well.
He's the
Those people
most-
are attractive.
He's like the most.
not to
I-
mention
my-
his fucking dick and Labyrinth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How about
And
that
those
bulge?
tights.
But seriously though, like I've said this many times, like to my girlfriend, to many people, like David Bowie's got to be the most attractive person if you take it all.
If you take
if you
everything
take
into
everything
consideration.
into consideration, because like you just said, his
Yeah.
confidence, his ability, his knowledge. He would talk about poets. He'd talk about
He's
novelists, he'd
well-rounded.
talk-
Yeah,
well-read,
absolutely.
well-traveled,
Mhm.
well-spoken. He's just really like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
He's
amazing.
he was one of
I
the
feel
I'd
like
want to
that-
be
I
David
feel
Bowie
like
so
he's- I feel
hard,
like
it's not
David
even
Bowie-
funny.
Yeah.
Like,
David Bowie is the guy who I would let take me out to dinner, and then we go home and like fuck to some music and some
well, I always
candles.
thought like,
But then Lou Reed is the guy who I call on my way home, and like we stop off.
I just think that Bowie is literally like if we were to send like aliens came down and they were like,
he's our representative. Yeah.
well, they were like, what is
That's
Earth like?
English.
They were but they're like, what is Earth like? Like, what is all the stuff that a human can do? What's all the stuff that you could enjoy in this life? We would be like, well, Bowie did
Check out
everything.
Bowie. yeah.
Fashion,
Yeah.
music, movies.
Bowie did everything.
Everything. And I always thought of it like, you know what I mean? The sexuality aspect's one thing, but I always thought like with David Bowie, if you listen to the song Kooks off of Hunky Dory,
Mm-hmm.
I always thought David Bowie would be the best dad ever. Because he
Mm.
says, like, in that song, he's like, and if you ever have to go to school, remember how they picked on this old fool. Don't pick fights with the bullies or the cads, because I'm not much cop at punching other people's dads. And if the homework brings you down, we'll throw it on the fire and take the car downtown. I was like, oh my God, that's the coolest dad
I
ever.
mean, he'd be a
Like,
cool dad for
he'd
sure.
be like, that sounds like the shit. Like, it just makes me giddy almost to think that David Bowie was a real person, thought all these things,
yeah,
and lived it like he did. Like he really
he
meant it.
lived. He lived.
He's just an idol. I always thought he'd be like the coolest uncle. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
that point,
Yeah, almost wouldn't want him to be your dad.
no, because like Julian
you'd be
Lennon,
living in his shadow.
Julian Lennon said that David Bowie was a better father. Paul McCartney was a better father than John Lennon, and like David Bowie would take him to
Well.
museums. He'd take him to all this stuff, and I can imagine. He's a better uncle probably than dad.
Yeah, uncles let you get away with more.
Yeah. His
Da-
son
dads
Duncan's
you kind of
pretty
live
well
in.
adjusted and pretty like successful. And did you see his new thing though? Oh my god, it's so bad.
All right, boys. Anything you want to say at the end? Because it's about an hour and I need to piss.
Oh shit. No.
Well,
No.
we're the Helen Hannas.
We are the Helen Hannas.
We
My
came here
name is
for a reason.
Pascal.
We did come here.
That's Jacob.
This is Jacob.
We're putting together a cool video of us playing some music and
Should be up soon.
trying to play some shows and
Book us.
book us.
Book us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you
course.
also,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And
Check out Bad Humor Company. They make
yeah, I saw that your girlfriend's
my girlfriend's company.
brand.
Yeah,
Very
she
cool.
makes vintage style T-shirts with potty humor on them.
You know what I like about her page is like it looks professional already.
She
So
is-
professional.
She's getting her stuff
She is
together.
cool.
Yeah.
ridiculously professional and works so fucking hard and is so on top of her stuff. So like, she deserves it. So check out Bad Humor Company too.
Check it out. No, I've already looked at it. I like that fart T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fart
so it's really cool, and thanks for coming on. And
Yeah.
glad to have met you guys. And
Let's go kill some beers.
let's go kill some beers after I take a piss. But yeah, let's
Yeah.
kick it.
That's good.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Later, man.